Welcome back. We are glad that you're still watching WTV Sports Center. Now, this is the analysis segment and we're looking at the English Premier League. On top of the table is Manchester City with 26 points, followed closely by Arsenal still with 26 points. But of course, Manchester City has a big goal difference, so that makes it to be at the top. And then another relatively new team, that is Leicester, is following up closely, and then we have Tottenham. Now, Manchester City will be playing Liverpool today at 8:30 p.m. and that's where we start our conversation from this afternoon, this second part of WTV Sports Center. Collins, Manchester City still at the top, but of course Arsenal is just there. They share points. But of course, because of the goal difference, Manchester City is at the top. Now, Manchester City is playing Liverpool tonight. What are the possible outcomes?
Okay, let me now depend on history. Some brief history. City have some good history at Etihad Stadium against Liverpool. Like for the past 4 or 5 seasons, Liverpool hasn't won at Etihad Stadium. I think that's number one factor. Number two, the Liverpool we know right now, the Liverpool that beat Chelsea before they went for the international break, is not the Liverpool that had Suarez and had Sturridge and the Liverpool that, that other Liverpool team. So I think it's not quite strong enough to absorb the City pressure. Nonetheless, we could be as well surprised. But the bottom line is, I think City would win.
Liverpool has been struggling. In fact, watching their last encounter with Crystal Palace, they lost. And Liverpool is a big team, is a big name, maybe so to speak. So what do you think Liverpool is not doing or is doing wrong?
Liverpool, understandably, we need to understand that Liverpool is basically still undergoing what's called transition from Brendan Rodgers to the interesting Jurgen Klopp. So we definitely have to give them quite some time to finish up the transition period and then start doing the real business. Then number two, we have quite a number of players in Liverpool who are not clicking. Brendan Rodgers, before he left, he brought in some very youngsters. He brought in quite a number of players. Some of them are not very experienced. So sometimes, people like Origi, you bring in people like Firmino, you bring in people like, there are quite a number of them. But a few players in Liverpool are trying to shine. So basically, with transition still on progress, we can as well excuse them for what they're registering right now.
Okay, anyway, that whether the Manchester City will win or Liverpool will lose, that remains to be seen. Your final predictions, do you expect so many goals or maybe a relatively, maybe 1-0 your predictions?
2-1 in favor of Man City.
2-1 in favor of Man City. Let's look at some other match that is taking place. Arsenal is playing West Brom.
Yes.
So Arsenal taking on West Brom, one would expect Arsenal to win.
Yeah.
But West Brom has also been doing quite well, so to speak. So looking at it like that, any surprise?
I don't see any surprise. Maybe there could be, but I don't see. The West Brom team we have right now, it's quite a talented team. The Rick Lamberts, the Berahinios we have right now, they're quite good people. But remember, Arsenal, before the international break, they drew with Tottenham. They struggled to draw with Tottenham. The message Wenger is trying to give his people is that, let's get there and get back our momentum. We cannot afford to be complacent. We don't have to lose this game. So I think Arsenal are going to win that match.
In the match that is between Arsenal and Tottenham, Alexis Sanchez, a player who has always, shined and all that, did not come up strongly. Why do you think so? And who are the players to watch in this game of Arsenal and West Brom?
Alexis Sanchez is always exhausted. Sometimes if you play a whole 90 minutes in almost every game, as a striker, you get exhausted. So sometimes he needed quite a number of a few minutes to get some rest. Maybe that is why he did not perform, or maybe just he wanted to relax. So sometimes that happens to players. But then in the Arsenal West Brom game, we just have to focus on Alexis Sanchez. We have to focus on Oliver Giroud, who is coming back from the international break, and quite a number of others. We expect Gabriel Paulista to continue shining, Bellerin, Hector, and Laurent Koscielny, of course, and Peter Cech in goal. Remember, Berahino is one guy who would score from anywhere. So Cech also has to be vigilant. Let's
look at another team that we were talking about last week. This is Chelsea that has really been struggling, at position 16. You don't expect Chelsea to be down there. So it's playing Norwich. Do you think now this is the time for Mourinho really to stand up and say enough is enough, no more losses?
This is the time, and I said it last weekend and I would say it today. This is the time. And for me, there's nothing else I expect from that game other than a Chelsea win. Chelsea have everything to win against Norwich City. Everything. You know, those players must come from the international break to save their careers, not Mourinho's career right now. Because as we approach the January window, you need to ask yourself, as Eden Hazard or Fabregas, where am I going with this kind of attitude? If I refuse to play, who will want to buy me? So I think this is the time they have to make that bow turn. They have to show the rest of the world that, look, we just kind of relaxed and we will not do it again.
Lastly, we have Manchester United playing Watford. In fact, that's the game that's starting at around 3:30. In fact, 3:45. So Manchester United playing Watford, one would clearly say is Manchester United win. Could I be wrong if I say that?
You would be wrong. Because number one, you need to put into consideration that United have lost quite two players. I think Carrick was injured during the international break, and Anthony Martial was also injured. So basically, and the travelling, going away to Watford could be quite a challenge to them. But then we also need to give them some benefit of doubt. You know, Watford is a very kind of small team. It's not been shocking quite a number of teams. So for me, I would say United are going to win that match.
United are going to win.
Yeah.
That's our predictions. And Collins Ogutu is very clear that Manchester City is going to beat Liverpool. Manchester United win, then Arsenal will also win. So you are simply going with the big names.
I'm going with the big names because they deserve to do that. But one big name has to fall.
One big name has to fall. You can always tell us what you think concerning some of these games that are being played this afternoon. And our SMS line is 20058. On Twitter, you'll find us at CKOgutu, at It's Elijah Mwangi, and at WTV. Now, almost coming to the end of our show, but not without taking you back to Sagana. Now, last week, we were featuring canoeing in Kenya and highlighting some of the struggles and challenges that the Kenyan team is having. Now, this week, we look at the countries that are doing very well in canoeing, the likes of Nigeria and Morocco. What can we learn from them? Let's find out. Thank you very much indeed for watching WTV Sports Center. Now, in this particular episode, we want to compare canoeing in Kenya and in other countries in Africa. Why is Kenya lagging behind in this kind of sport? And now joining me today is Akiema from Nigeria. You want to hear his story because he has been a champion for quite a number of competitions. Let's hear what he has to say. Thank you very much, sir, for finding time for us.
No problem.
How is canoeing in general? How do you like it?
I love canoeing. It's a passion of mine, and I love the thrill of racing and the thrill of doing the whitewater.
And how did you start this game? What inspired you to participate in canoeing?
So I have dual citizenship, so I have Nigerian passport and a British passport. So I grew up in the UK, and I joined the local club and enjoyed it, and then I took it to a higher level, racing and competing.
I've seen you competing, and you are quite different from the rest. You are standing out. What is the secret of success in all this?
The secret of success is to persevere and to make sure that you travel to the best rivers and the best locations to practice the sport, because every course is different. So you have to go and travel all over to try and find the best whitewater.
How is canoeing in Nigeria, or rather, because you've said you have dual citizenship, in the place that you've practiced canoeing? What exactly the kind of support that you're getting? Is it from the government? Is it from what makes you stand out in that line?
So in Nigeria, we do a lot of flat water sprint because we don't have the facilities to do the slalom whitewater. So the guys in Nigeria are supported by the federation, the Nigerian Canoe Federation, and they're given support with equipment and coaches. But a lot of the time you have to do a lot for yourself. So for me, I'm in the UK where we have better facilities. And I think that has helped me with my success, that the facilities are there and you can use them and access them all the time. And I'm lucky that I have a good federation with the Nigerian Canoe Federation.
Amazing. Now you've competed, against our Kenyan team. Which area do they fall short?
I'd say that really with Kenya, it's in the development stage, it's the grassroots stage, so it takes anything up between 10 to 20 years to establish a good, strong team. So I think it's early days for the Kenyan team. So like here, you might think that people are ahead of them, but really for me, myself, I've been doing canoeing now for 16 years. So that's the difference really. I think we have to have faith in the government of Kenya, and the sports commissions in Kenya have to put the backing into the Kenyan canoeing. And if you persevere and are patient, then you will see success in Kenya for sure.
16 years in canoeing, that's a very long time, and I believe there is no success story without some of the challenges. What are some of the struggles that you've gone through in this canoeing?
A lot of challenges, a lot of setbacks. So, for example, going to competitions, for example, the World Championships, and not getting the results that you need, it's difficult because the standard is so high. That can be a setback, so you have to use the failures and the times that you don't win to make you stronger, so that for when you can win. And also just the funding in Africa in general. I think the common theme is that African governments invest typically in the athletics or the football. So funding in canoeing across the whole of Africa is not the best. So you have to generate your own funds, so work as well as training.
For the sake of viewers, there are those that do not understand how canoeing exactly works and how you score points to emerge victorious. Take us through the process, or rather from start to the end, for you to be victorious.
So it's an individual sport. You are a time trial, so you go individually. And there's a set of gates between 18 and 24 gates. And there's 6 upstreams, which are red, and they have to be negotiated upstream. And the rest are downstream, which have to go downstream with the flow. And if you touch a gate, it's a 2-second time penalty each time you touch it. And if you miss a gate, it's a 50-second time penalty. Add on the penalties, and the fastest time wins.
Oh, the fast time wins.
Yeah.
And so in general, as we wind up, what's your word out there to Kenyans and even to the Nigerians?
Persevere with the sports that you love. Don't worry if it's not athletics, because if you enjoy a sport, persevere with it, practice, and you will be successful by the grace of God.
The ideal Akiema in terms of canoeing, where do you see yourself in maybe the next 10 years?
So for me now, I'm enjoying racing internationally, but I'm getting old for sport now. So I'm hoping perhaps to, over the next few years, take more of a backseat in a coaching stance to help develop the sport and be a coach towards the newcomers.
Oh, amazing. Now, for 16 years, success stories in terms of awards and accomplishments?
So I'm a 3-time African canoe slalom champion, 2-time canoe sprint whitewater champion. I've competed in the London 2012 Olympics, and I've competed in 4 World Championships.